Hello everyone, it's Laura here for Yoga Teacher Prep. Welcome to our weekly Facebook Live. Today we're talking about yoga teacher burnout. So as you're joining me, welcome. And I'd love to hear your experiences about burnout. First off, have you ever experienced burnout as a yoga teacher? So those of you who are joining me who are yoga teachers, have you ever had that debilitating feeling like you're working too much, or you just feel kind of stale, or you just feel exhausted from teaching too much, or uninspired? And if your answer is yes, let me know. I want to see who out there has experienced burnout, and I'd love for us today to just kind of brainstorm great ways, great ideas around managing burnout as a yoga teacher. So if you're just joining me, I'm Laura from Yoga Teacher Prep. We're about to get started. Today we're talking about burnout, specifically when it happens to yoga teachers. And what I mean by that is when you're a yoga teacher and you just feel totally exhausted, completely uninspired, maybe working too much, driving all around to different studios, trying to just make a dime, and you don't feel successful, you don't feel inspired anymore, you just feel kind of overdone, overcooked. So that's what I mean by burnout. So that's what we're talking about today on our Facebook Live. We are just getting started, and if you're just joining me now, please take full advantage of the comment section in the Facebook Live. I never want to be preachy. I'd love to make this an open conversation. So when you comment, I can see what you're typing and what you're saying, and I can address it as we're moving through the live. So today, my first question for you as you're joining me is, have you ever experienced burnout? And today I know we've got an audience of yoga teachers, as well as people who are in the process of becoming yoga teachers, as well as people who are thinking about doing their yoga teacher training. So wherever you're at on the yoga journey, it's all good. Welcome. I want to hear, have you ever experienced burnout? Okay. So what do I mean by that? Burnout is kind of a broad term that I feel like we use a lot in our modern culture, but specifically in regards to yoga teachers, I think it means a variety of things. I'll share with you a personal story about how I've encountered burnout, and I have by no means mastered the art of avoiding burnout. Every once in a while I kind of feel those old feelings sneak in, and I have to really manage that, and I've got all kinds of tips that I'm going to share with you today around how to manage that. But I've been teaching now for over 10 years, and burnout has crept in over and over again, so I've had to really be strategic around how I manage it. And most recently, it snuck up on me this past winter. My role right now as a yoga teacher has been flying around to different cities in Western Canada, leading yoga teacher trainings for a company that I work for. And I'm 8.5 months pregnant. And so over the winter, I was kind of and just learning how to manage the pregnancy and getting on planes and off planes, and the planes being delayed, and not really spending much time at home, not getting things done that I wanted to get done. I love leading the teacher trainings, but they're really long days usually, and I was starting to get pretty exhausted. I'd be flying out on Thursdays and then flying back home on Mondays, and everything of course would always be difficult. The traveling portion, there'd never be good food at the airport, and I'd always have a delayed flight, or I'd end up in a hotel room in some city I wasn't supposed to be in. So I would get home just exhausted and really questioning, is this what I should be doing right now? And so I started to feel those old feelings of burnout sneaking in, and had to very quickly assess the situation, and spoke to the boss of the studio that I sometimes teach out of here in Kelowna, and had to really cut back on how much I was teaching, so that when I was home I could fully relax, because what used to be my weekends now suddenly the weekends I was traveling to do these teacher trainings. So I had to really be careful and strategic, and as twisted as this sounds, I think I'm lucky because I have experienced burnout over the course of my career, that I know what it feels like as soon as it starts to creep in. So I knew those feelings as they were sneaking in, and was able to curb it before it got to the point where I was totally drained and uninspired. So often how burnout translates is, if you're new to teaching or if you're just diving into teaching, is it looks like feeling uninspired. Okay, you feel like you're walking into a class and you're totally stale, feeling like you're not valued for what you're offering. So just like getting really frustrated with your job, like maybe feeling like you're not making enough money. It could manifest as total exhaustion. So maybe you're just really tired all the time. And also you questioning your career as a yoga instructor. That could be how this manifests. You're just not feeling inspired anymore and you're like, why am I doing this again? So if you ever have any of those feelings, those are kind of like warning signs of total burnout. And the sad thing is that I've seen so many yoga teachers in my community and all over the world who've experienced burnout to the point where they actually saw these signs come up, didn't realize that they maybe needed to like drastically switch gears, and in fact ended up quitting teaching, which breaks my heart, you guys. So awful. So don't let yourself get to that point. You know, if you made the decision to become a yoga teacher because you want to share this amazing gift with people, then don't let exhaustion and burnout affect your choice of career. Okay, there's things we can do, actions we can take to prevent burnout from getting all the way to feeling like you need to quit. So what can we do to avoid yoga teacher burnout or manage yoga teacher burnout? I have 3 tips for you today. My top tip is to get back to the roots of yoga. So remember your teacher training, how we learned so much about yoga off the mat. And regardless of what teacher training you did, whether it was with me or with someone else in another part of the world, doesn't matter. Most teacher trainings incorporate some aspect of learning yoga off the mat. And if we go way, way back, you know, to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, and he outlines the 8-limb path. The first 2 limbs of the 8-limb path are the yamas and niyamas, which is kind of like, I call it like the 10 commandments of yoga. This is like our ethical code. And the yamas and niyamas are really how we move in our day-to-day lives, practicing yoga without necessarily the use of a yoga mat. Like, it's not a physical practice. It's an intentional practice of who we are as human beings. So go back to the yamas and niyamas and get in alignment again with like ahimsa, like compassion, love, truth, honesty, like being conscious of energy management, cleanliness, like taking care of what you're eating and just managing your space, and connection to divinity, connection, oneness, connection to all others. When we get back to these roots of yoga, it can relight the fires that started our passion for this career. And it also, you know, reminds us why we're doing what we're doing, and it encourages us to bring our yoga back into balance, so that we don't get caught up in the chaos of just focusing, you know, on teaching a million classes. Okay, so my first tip is really about taking your yoga off the mat and getting back in touch with that experience, because that'll relight you up and help you feel more balanced when you're honoring things like the yamas and niyamas, like the initial principles and ethics of yoga. It's not just about the physical, right? It's about what happens off the mat. We need to remember that in order to stay balanced. My second tip for you today is, you know, something we talk about all the time here at Yoga Teacher Prep, is all about staying inspired. So ensuring that you have continuous avenues of inspiration to light you up, because you know, gosh, I've seen it so many times where teachers just all of a sudden they don't feel inspired, and it's like the warning signal for burnout. It's like burnout's around the corner the second you stop feeling inspired. So you have to find different ways of staying inspired and really make inspiration a priority. So how can you do that? Well, I just checked into our Facebook group just before I jumped on the live today, and I saw there's a great thread around books. We often talk about books. That's my number one way of finding inspiration. There's a great thread about a week ago that was talking about practicing, so getting on your mat and actually doing the asana practice, meditation, finding teachers in your community that light you up, going to their classes. And also you could do this online if you're in a smaller community and you don't have a lot of resources or teachers that you can go to. You could go into nature. People mention that. Get outside, go for a walk in nature, take your dogs for a walk. And, finding sources of inspiration is so, so important, so crucial. And something I've learned on this path is that my sources of inspiration are constantly changing. So I have to always be reevaluating where I'm getting inspiration from, because I can, read a million books and then I'm like, I'm done with reading. Time for my new source of inspiration. And then, then all of a sudden I'm on podcasts and I love podcasts. So your source of inspiration will be unique to you. So you need to really get clear on what it is that lights you up. Find that avenue, eat it up, and then move on. Find the next avenue. And making this a priority is essential to avoiding burnout. So many people put that, find inspiration on the bottom of the to-do list and then never get to it, right? Because there's so many things that are more important. No, finding inspiration needs to be at the top of the list to remain an awesome rock star yoga teacher like you are. So to recap, my first 2 points today about how to avoid yoga teacher burnout include living yoga off the mat, so practicing your yoga off the mat, and then staying inspired. Okay. My third tip for you today on how to avoid yoga teacher burnout is practice. This has come up in the first 2 tips, but practicing, okay, is essential. So, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but those of you who are yoga teachers, I know you know what I'm talking about. The second you become a yoga teacher, all of a sudden you go to class and it's no longer about you. It's about, learning from that teacher whose class you're taking the practice from, because you're like, oh, I like the way they said that. I like the way they explained how to come in and out of that asana. Oh, I enjoyed that Shavasana. I'm going to have to ask her where that quote was from. All of a sudden you're listening to all the different cues and you're going to yoga classes to get inspiration for your classes. And it becomes no longer about you. And it's kind of sad. Whereas before you used to go to yoga and it was like all about you being present. Now you go to yoga as a yoga teacher and you're learning how to be a better yoga teacher. So it's almost like there's like a breakup that occurs when you become a yoga teacher. And it's hard, but it's so essential that you maintain your practices in order to keep your students lit up, in order to keep learning as a yoga teacher. And something I do to kind of manage this is when I go to a class, I find that I am listening to things I like about the instruction or don't like about the instruction and figuring out how I can incorporate them into my classes. But if there's too much, I'm not going to remember any of it. So when I go to a yoga class, I immediately pick up 3 things I liked about the class. Okay, 3 things. It could be like a word that the instructor used, or a sequence, or a greeting, okay, or a song even. And then once I've got those 3 things, I lock them in. So I try to memorize them, and then I'm done. Then I don't have to focus on anything else the teacher's saying. I can just go into my practice, okay? It can just be about me after that. And when I do that, it really lights me up. So I leave the class having 3 takeaways on how to improve my practice, and also feeling like I got a good practice in, like I really enjoyed the practice. So practicing, and again too, you can do this in a studio classroom, or you can do this online, like watching a yoga class online. So both avenues work great for this. But if you stop practicing yoga, what are you doing? Like, why? This is what brought you to this career. You have to keep practicing. You have to stay fresh. You have to stay inspired through your practice. And also, the practice is everything. It teaches you how to experience this in your bodies. It teaches you how to speak to your students from such a personal place. And it's a meditation. So maintain your practice hands down. And I know, once you start teaching, it can get kind of hard because you don't have time, or it's just the last thing you want to do is go back to the studio at the end of the day. But honestly, it's so essential to preventing burnout and maintaining your own personal practice. So we just need to put all these things at the top of the list, our priority list. Okay, so to recap, my 3 points for today on how to avoid yoga teacher burnout are: practice your yoga off the mat, stay inspired, and practice your yoga on the mat. So those are my 3 points. Okay, so now that we understand burnout a little bit, how many of you guys like recognize that you may have been in burnout or may have been near burnout? Has anyone experienced burnout out there? Just type in the comments field yes or no if you felt burnout, or if you've ever felt like stale with teaching, like uninspired. And so just use the comments field as you're watching me on the Facebook Live. Type yes or no if you've experienced burnout or not. And I want to hear if I'm all by myself over here. And I've experienced burnout many, many times. It's taken me a long time to find ways around managing burnout. But I feel like these 3 tips I shared with you today are really the like most quintessential for preventing the burnout. Yeah, who hasn't experienced burnout? Come on, you guys. Don't make me feel lonely. I know you have at some point. If you're a brand new teacher, just wait. It'll get you. But now you know a few tricks to manage it. Okay. If you want more resources on this, I wrote a blog on this a little while ago, about a year ago, and it's totally free. It's on yogateacherprep.com. You can access it there around yoga teacher burnout, and because so many people ask about it through Yoga Teacher Prep, so I recognize it's something we need to address quite continuously. I've seen so many teachers like really struggle with Yoga Teacher burnout. So I wrote the blog, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to create a course. I can incorporate everything I've learned around Yoga Teacher burnout in this course. And it's on our Yoga Teacher Prep website. You can access it there. It's called The Balanced Yoga Teacher, okay? And it's a fantastic course, and it incorporates all kinds of cool things, including like worksheets, like you actually have to like hash out some stuff, as well as a lot of inspiration from Ayurveda, which is the sister science to yoga. So, one of the most important things about preventing burnout is really managing self-care. So again, we go back to those yamas and niyamas and think about like saucha, purity, like taking care of yourself. And so we use the inspiration of Ayurveda to speak to a lot of these self-care practices, and we include recipes. So, making good, nourishing food is an important aspect of preventing burnout. Sticking with the yamas and niyamas, we speak to that a little bit more in depth, and also, a whole bunch of ways to stay inspired. So the course is like basically kind of like what we talked about today, but in a much grander scope. It's also personalized. You get videos of me explaining things, and then you have like worksheets where you have to hash things out and get clear on, what inspires you. The investment for the course is $100, but don't buy it. Okay, here's why. This is the only time I'll say that. Don't buy the course. Because today you guys were launching, our big announcement today is we're launching our brand new Yoga Teacher Prep Yoga Business Academy. And the Yoga Business Academy is this incredible resource. It is all the courses we have ever made at Yoga Teacher Prep. That's, you guys, 30 courses, over 30 courses. And we're taking all of these courses from the programs like this Balanced Yoga Teacher program, to like mini workshops we've created, to like actual practices that we've created on the mat, to guided meditations. We've taken all of this and combined it so that you can get access to all of these courses all at once for just $39 a month, $39 US a month. So this is our brand new epic business academy. So, why pay $100 for the Balanced Yoga Teacher course when you can access the course for just $39 a month, and then get a whole plethora of other courses that we've created as well. And you guys, what is so cool about this is that it is membership, so you pay $39 a month, but then you can cancel at any time. So, if you've got the time, do all the courses in the month and then cancel. And you've only paid $39 for over $700 worth of value in courses. So we're super excited about the launch today, about our new business academy. You know, we've had our Yoga Teacher Prep Academy running now for a few years, which has all kinds of mini workshops. So we've opened the gates to that as part of the business academy. We've had all kinds of courses, like big programs that are about marketing and branding. And, you know, these courses are $100 to $250 each. We've opened up access to all of that. We have our practice studio, which includes a whole bunch of practices with yours truly in my beautiful home studio. Also outside, we filmed some last summer, and some guided meditations, some of my favorite meditations I've shared with you. And we've opened up access to all of that through the Business Academy. So I'm really excited to share it with you. And, you know, it's always been my goal to bring the stuff that I know to as many yoga teachers as possible out there. Okay, so some of the courses that are included in the academy, like the big programs that will take, each of these programs will take you about 4 to 5 hours. They're serious business development programs, include like clarifying your yoga teacher purpose, so getting clear on what your role is as a yoga teacher, thriving in the modern yoga teacher industry, so how to rock this industry, how to teach yoga in the modern cutthroat business world, marketing and branding, so you learn how to market and brand your offering. The one I spoke to earlier today, the balanced yoga teacher, cultivating community and building your tribe, so basically how to build up clientele and you know, and do that with integrity. And we're including our most popular program, which is our Blueprint to Profitable Yoga Retreat. So this program is, you know, the way to really get access to all of my secrets around leading rockstar yoga retreats. All the stuff I've learned in 7 years of leading these retreats, we're giving you as part of the membership. These courses are your key to being a successful entrepreneur. Okay. You know, if someone had offered me these courses 5 years ago, life would have been so much easier. Because I spent so much time researching all this stuff and like groping in the dark, trying to figure out all the business stuff that, you know, I want to be able to give this to you at an affordable price so that you don't have to do all that dirty work. You can stay balanced, not waste all your time trying to figure out how to brand yourself, and let me give you the formula that you need to be successful as a yoga entrepreneur and really get your business rocking. All of this, you get all of this for $39 a month. And again, you can just sign up for 1 month and cancel at any time. So there's like no hassle cancellation. We've had a bunch of students do a lot of these courses in the past. This is the first time we've kind of combined all of our courses together, like everything we've created. But in the past, we've had many students do separate courses, and we've had some amazing success stories come out of it, like Jennifer, like Stacy, who've, you know, taken these programs and like more than quadrupled their income because of what they've learned in these programs. So we're pretty proud of them. I am, at least. You guys, I'm at this place now where I'm about to have a baby. I'm getting pretty close here. And with Yoga Teacher Prep, you know, we've been doing this for 3 years now. My intention was always to give more yoga teachers access to this content. So I was like, how can we, you know, do this in a way that's affordable and realistic, and just combining all of these courses to me is the answer, so that you can, you know, you can still buy the courses individually, but having that membership, so that you can, you know, do them at your own pace. You can cancel at any time, and, you know, you get access to over $700 worth of courses for $39 a month. So, you know, if the budget is tight, you know, I think this is super realistic, and I'm super happy to be able to share everything I've learned with you. Especially, you know, as I go to shift gears here and learn how to become a mother to something that isn't four-legged, hopefully. So just to speak to you, so I spoke to the programs that are in our business academy, our yoga business academy, but we also have all kinds of mini workshops. The mini workshops include courses on like chanting, Sanskrit. We've got prepping for a local yoga teacher training versus prepping for destination teacher training if you're in that boat of like just thinking about doing your teacher training. Yeah, we've got all kinds of like little videos that break down things like chaturanga or like explain yin yoga, like what's that all about. You also get, 20-minute practices in our virtual studio, as well as meditations that span anywhere from, a couple minutes to 20 minutes. So you can, find that balance. Do the business courses, do the little workshops, and then, do your practice. We've got all kinds of recipes, and I'm so excited about the variety of courses that we've included in this. So to recap before I let you go, before I run away today, we've got our brand new Yoga Teacher Prep Yoga Business Academy includes everything that we have created. So it includes all of our business courses, okay? All the business programs that we have on our website, as well as the retreat program. So my blueprint to successful retreats, as well as all of the mini workshops that you can find in our Yoga Teacher Prep Academy. And like we talk about money management in that. There's so much value in that. And as well as all of the classes that are in our practice studio, and the meditations. And plus my final bonus for you today is, because we're like so stoked on this launch, is I created this cool hands-on assists like downloadable handout for you. And it includes my 12 favorite assists, hands-on assists with the pictures of me doing the assists on my beautiful model, Shalane, thank you Shalane, as well as an explanation as to how to do the assist. And it's on a lot of the postures that are quite common. So I feel like it's quite accessible for most yoga teachers out there. Like just simple postures like Shavasana and Downward Dog, just, finding ways to really add something extra to your class through these hands-on adjustments. So I'm throwing that in today. You'll get free access to that if you join our Yoga Teacher Prep Yoga Business Academy now, so during our launch. So we're so excited about it. We're going to throw in the assists handout. So I'm stoked. I hope you are too. Thank you for joining me today. That's our big announcement, our brand new academy, our business academy. I think I'll probably do a couple more lives, and then baby will be here soon. So I'll be taking a little bit of time off. But as always, please post in the group. Please send me messages if you have any questions, and let me know how I can serve, how I can help you in these last couple of weeks before I take a little bit of time off. It's been a pleasure. Namaste, you guys. Thank you for joining me today. All the best, and don't burn out. Stay inspired.